This episode of the MLB Guardcast is brought to us by NovaDigitalArts. Are you looking to spruce up your company's logo or website? Are you looking for help when it comes to digital arts and marketing? Look no further than NovaDigitalArts. You can check out their work at NovaDigitalArts at iCloud.com. Be sure to tell them the MLB Guardcast sent you. NovaDigitalArts, located in Greene, Ohio. Give our friend Derek a call at 234-716-1687. Nova Digital Arts, creating magic since 2007. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is the MLB Guardcast, episode number 18, a special trade deadline day episode. I am Mike Vorhies. He is the former Chicago White Sox, now back with the Chicago White Sox. Good luck in the bullpen tonight, because you're probably going to need it. It's Bryan Shaw. Bryan, welcome into the chaos known as trade deadline day.
Woo! You know, they made a move a couple days ago, and they made another move, and then we were like, well, what are they doing? And then they made one more move, and we were like, okay, this is what they're doing. And right at the deadline mark, in fact, it didn't come in until after 6 o'clock that we find out that they've made another move. Let's break it down.
I was petrified because I heard that Josh Naylor had been scratched from tonight's lineup, and I'm like, if they trade Josh Naylor, I'm gonna break something.
You would have had to have gotten Shohei Ohtani for Josh Naylor.
Something, yeah. You'd have had to receive the biggest haul in the world, but no, Naylor unfortunately had some tightness in his right side, so he was out. Josh Bell was gonna DH, but Josh Bell no longer a Cleveland Guardian. That's the
latest trade.
That's the latest trade. We'll talk about that one here in just a minute. Let's recap some trades. So
we want to start at the beginning?
Let's start at the beginning. The man who we knew was going to be traded eventually finally got dealt, and that would have been our shortstop, Amed Rosario. He was traded to the LA Dodgers for Thor, a.k.a. Noah Syndergaard. That kind of had me scratching my head a little bit.
So I don't disagree. I mean, I wanted Rosario gone. Now, I've been getting a lot of flack on Twitter for my criticism of Amed this year. I absolutely loved him last year, and he was an integral part of the team. But I want to kind of give you a breakdown, and this has changed a little bit even in the last week. Just to compare Rosario's seasons. Last year, about the time that we traded him, he was 0 outs above average on defense, meaning he was literally average defender at shortstop. So right in the middle. Perfect. Fine. But he was also a 113 WRC plus, so weighted runs created plus. The 113 means he's 13% above average in Major League Baseball. So he was an above average hitter, right? That was last year at this time. And then now I looked at it today. He had fallen 6 points, so he was 107 as of July 31st. However, this year, minus 15 outs above average. The worst in Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
and an 88 WRC plus. So as good as he was above average, he was then 12 points below average this year. So he was holding up Arias and Freeman and Rocchio. And when they're below 500, folks, unfortunately.
One game.
They're below 500.
One game, we're 53 and 54.
And you're only a game out of the division. But I've been talking about for weeks now. Like, it's just not their year. And maybe you win the division. And maybe we have a slap box fight with the Twins who didn't make any moves for the division. But are you going to win a playoff series? I doubt it.
That's a great question.
So this move is then for Thor, for Syndergaard.
Right.
He's a reclamation project.
Right. He was 1-4 ERA of 7.16 with the Dodgers. He was on the disabled list, or the injured list, I'm sorry, when they traded him. And he actually made his Guardians debut last night against the Houston Astros, and he looked really good.
He looked great.
Unfortunately,
they hit a couple hard ones to the deep outfield.
They did.
No strikeouts, but 5 1/3. He did have the 1 earned run, which
right.
It was more the bullpen's fault than his.
Well, that, and then he took a line drive off of his shin, and I think it was a precautionary reason that Tito had him come out of the game.
Yeah. He said his game.
Yeah,
he said his push off calf was not feeling good.
No, and I mean, if you take a line drive off your leg, it's gonna hurt. I mean,
yeah.
So hopefully he'll be okay. So Noah's here. He's gonna replace Aaron Civale. Aaron Civale was dealt yesterday to the Tampa Bay Rays for minor league first baseman Kyle Manzardo. I like the name. His minor league stats intrigue me. He's currently injured with a bad shoulder. He's on the 7-day injured list for AAA. But folks, we could be looking. Hitter. Yeah, we could be looking at our starting first baseman for next year.
Yeah, especially since they just traded Josh Bell.
Hold on,
which is kind of the corresponding move.
Yeah, Josh Bell in a shocker after the trade deadline. The trade deadline was 6 p.m., but always trades seem to trickle in after that for probably a half hour or so. Josh Bell traded to the Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
For infielder Gene Segura, I'm sorry. And then another middle infield prospect in Khalil Watson.
He's a high A prospect, so he's a long
super
time
young.
away.
Yes, he's
a long time away. So to start with Civale, I mean, I guess you kind of have to look at these moves in tandem. Bell didn't work out for you. And if they really, really love Manzardo and think he's going to be the starting first baseman next year, and Josh Naylor then can move into the DH role, okay. I liked Aaron. He has 2.5 years of control left. I don't like the state of the pitching rotation. I'm going to like this move better if Tristan doesn't need Tommy John. If now, because you traded Civale, because you couldn't trade Shane, you then maybe keep Shane and don't trade him?
So my initial reaction when this trade was announced,
I hated it initially.
You probably saw it in my text. I was absolutely furious. Civale has been the lone bright spot in our rotation aside from the youngsters, but we know that they're young and they're going to be on pitch counts. They're going to be on innings restrictions,
which is why the seasons, they're just like whatever on the season.
We know that Cal Quantrill will be rejoining the team at some point. Tristan and Shane are pretty much done for the season. I would be
they'll come back in September and we'll get like 3 starts out of each of them.
But after I slept on it and I thought about it long and hard, what the Guardians did was they sold very high.
They did. I'll agree with that.
Civale has a history of injury. And Tampa was extremely desperate. They're willing to give up their number 3 prospect in Manzardo, and he could be our first baseman starting next year.
He's their number 3 prospect. He's now our number 3 prospect behind Gavin Williams and George Valera, and he's 37th overall in MLB pipeline.
Yeah. So guys, I mean, I was a little upset. I was stunned when we traded him, but now the more I think about it, we made the right move, especially if we're going to limp till the end of the season. We're going to have to, the cupboard down at AAA is quite bare when it comes to starting pitching. They're going to need to do something. Obviously, bringing Noah Syndergaard in, that gives you a body. Cal Quantrill most likely will be back. And I have a feeling that we're going to be rocking with a 6-man rotation going forward, including Xavier Curry, who they're trying to stretch him out a little bit. I mean, I think I've seen him throw 4 innings as the absolute most. So
And he's earned that. He's earned that opportunity.
he's done well. So we might as well keep him, and let's limp, because guess what? The Twins, they made this many moves.
Yeah, they didn't
So
even sell.
guys, they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And the Guardians, we thought they were done. And then all of a sudden the Josh Bell news breaks that he's dealt.
So
my problem with this trade of Josh Bell. So Gene Segura is having an absolute horrible, horrendous season.
yeah, we thought Amed Rosario was having a down year. Segura's having a terrible year.
Now, is this one of those things where they could designate him for assignment?
Probably. And they just have to pay a salary, but they have to pay less salary than they were going to have to pay Josh Bell.
Correct.
Because I think you said he makes $8.5 million next year. So they might just eat it.
Yeah, because where's he going to play? He can't play third. He's not going to play shortstop. He's not going to play second base. Can he play first?
We did this with another guy. Was it when we traded Eddie Rosario? Who did we get for Eddie Rosario? And then we just immediately cut him.
I have no idea. Oh my goodness. Who did we get?
I gotta Google this real quick.
All right, you Google it. I'll talk about this. So the thing that frustrates me with the Josh Bell move, yes, you get Segura, but where's he going to play? I have a feeling he's going to be a DFA.
Pablo Sandoval.
That's it. Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda. And we cut him immediately. We cut him before the trade was even announced, I think.
Basically.
I mean, tough break for him. But, right. So, but why do we take another middle infield prospect?
Because it's high A, and because by the time he's
we
up
have
here,
so many on our list right now.
Because
so he's
a lottery
another
ticket. He's a guy.
Hear me out on this. Could they potentially be trying to package something this winter?
Yeah.
And maybe we get a power hitting outfielder, or who knows?
Yeah,
another pitcher.
I do think this is their figure out time period now for the last 2 months. I want to read you a tweet that I tweeted on back in May. So I said on May 9th, when the Guardians were very much struggling. So we're what, 6 weeks into the season on May 9th?
Yep.
I said the Guardians are going to break out of their funk, or they trade Rosario, Bell, Zunino at the deadline. That's probably when we get more of a look at guys like Freeman, Fry, Rocchio, and Bo. Well, I was almost there. They cut Zunino instead.
Yeah, but I mean, Rocchio we haven't seen a lot of, although he's playing really well down at AAA. Freeman gets the start tonight, batting second, playing second base. Arias
in
is
for
now. Bell? I have not seen an updated lineup. Let me see if I can find one really quick. Let's go to the handy dandy MLB app and see what they have to say.
So anyway, Segura is making $8.5 million next year. I think they're going to cut him. I don't think you need to worry about where that guy's going to play. Watson being a high A player, like you continually, want to restock your minor league system. But I do think that this is the figure out time period so that you can package finally some of those middle infielders, which we've been talking about for like a year and a half for an outfielder. Because the other part of this is all the guys that we had talked about that we wanted in trades, Cody Bellinger, Lane Thomas, Nate Carlson, Lars Nootbaar, Jan Gomes, Luis Robert, Elias Diaz. None of them got traded.
Breaking news. Gene Segura will be released by the Cleveland Guardians.
Nailed it.
However, now the rumor mill has begun to swirl. Could it be time for George Valera to make his ascension from AAA to the major league roster? We're gonna need that. We're gonna need to bring somebody up. We're gonna need to bring.
It's time to look at the kiddos.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity now with the DH spot open to get more looks at Oscar Gonzalez, to get looks at George Valera, to get looks at Brian Rocchio. And, they traded Rosario, and I had said in public, I'm going to start judging Gabriel Arias from the point that he was basically the everyday shortstop. I wasn't going to judge him anymore based on all the moving around that he did and playing once a week and all of that stuff. I was going to judge him from basically the day before the Rosario trade because he was starting at shortstop the day before the trade, and he's actually been very good.
Well,
he's been doing very well since the trade.
The MLB app still has Josh Bell listed in our lineup at DH for tonight.
Well, we'll find out in 15. No,
so we're gonna
8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock game tonight. Gavin Williams on the hill tonight against Framber Valdez from Houston. So my question is this: so if Bell is out, you take Bell out of the lineup because he's not here anymore. The bench then has Brennan.
Well, Brennan will probably go in right field today, and Oscar will DH, or vice versa.
Or you could put Bo Naylor at
Bo
designated
Naylor could DH today.
You have a very thin bench right now.
Well, it doesn't matter if we have a thin bench because Tito never uses the bench, and that's our next topic of discussion.
Well, hold on. I know. Let's not put the cart before the horse. But obviously, a magnitude of trades. You saw Max Scherzer get dealt. The Mets are in absolute shambles, folks. We thought the Guardians were bad. The Mets, who had the highest payroll in all of baseball, have now shed
their roster.
Scherzer's gone. Verlander's gone. Mark Canna's gone. I'm trying to think who else is. Yep, Tommy Pham is gone. They got rid of some folks.
Basically, Lindor's the only one left.
Yeah. How's that trade looking now, folks? Sorry, I have to take a shot. I mean, Lindor. Lindor's probably kicking himself and going, oh, I might be out of here soon. So
he might be. They might trade him too.
Yeah, never know.
Thing
and then
you've
got all these trades. I'm not going to sit here and read them all. There was one that made me a little sad, and that had to do with Mr. Slamtana, Carlos Santana, who was traded from the Pirates to the Brewers. There was a rumor that potentially the Guardians were going to look to bring him back. I mean, you had the hug between Carlos and Tito, and everybody's like, "Oh, could it be a little foreshadowing?"
Andre Knott said Carlos wants to end his career here. I don't think that's a this offseason thing. I think that's a bring him back and let him have a nice little farewell moment in Cleveland.
You got to hit more than,
but he's not ready to hang it up yet.
Yeah, you got to hit better than 221 when you're coming back here as a farewell. It needs to be the Jim Thome and how they did with Jason Giambi. Let them go out on their own.
So why are you sad to see him get moved? Because he didn't come to Cleveland?
Because he didn't come to Cleveland. Oh. I'm a huge Carlos Santana fan.
I'm happy that he's going to a contender and not stuck in the Pirates anymore.
The Brewers and the Reds and the Cubs, I mean, those three teams are going to be very fun to watch. David Robertson, I forgot about him from the Mets. He got dealt too. Miami is trying to go all in. The Padres making deals. The Rangers making deals. Our old friend Austin Hedges gets dealt from the Pirates to the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers get Scherzer and Jordan Montgomery, Chris Stratton.
There's two other parts to the Mets deal. There was an article in The Athletic, an interview with Scherzer after his meeting with the management there, and they said they don't expect to compete until 2026.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so that's why he wanted out.
Right.
And on top of that, the amount of money that the Mets are paying Verlander and Scherzer to not play for them is astronomical.
How much money?
It's half of our payroll.
How much money did they send to Houston with Verlander?
Well, it depends because if it's contingent on he has a vested option year. If he pitches a certain amount of innings, it could be $50 million. I read.
Wow, that's a huge chunk of payroll. Oh man, the Mets folks are a dumpster fire. Having the highest payroll in baseball gets you what exactly? Exactly nothing.
Yeah.
You're having the
richest owner in baseball doesn't always mean anything. You can buy a roster all you want, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Now, would I like the Guardians to spend more? Yeah, absolutely. But
a little bit. Yeah.
I also have a feeling that Paul Dolan is never going to let Chris Antonetti get a free agent ever again.
I don't know. I think the signing
we
of
whiffed big.
Well, no, Zunino was a chance. We took a flyer on him. He didn't do well. We needed a stopgap between now and Bo Naylor.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Zunino didn't work. He gets booted. Josh Bell was brought in. We were expecting something more than what we got. Josh Bell struggled mightily. There were games where he had signs of life, and everybody's like, okay, maybe he's getting out of it. And then he swoons again. And so
I liked the move. I actually predicted that move. He was a silver slugger. It's hard to predict that kind of fall off.
No,
it goes back in history a little ways, not just this one, but yeah, I have a feeling they're not going to make a big splash free agent move.
We'll see. I mean, I think they're going to do it more with trades than with free agency. I mean, we talked about Shane Bieber the last time we recorded. He was not injured yet, and now he's on the 60-day disabled list. Bieber was our biggest trade piece. You and I had talked about it multiple times. I had no doubts that he was going to get traded today if he was healthy.
And then they traded Civale instead.
So. Yeah, but I still think that they could move Shane because they weren't going to pay Civale what he would have been worth. They're not going to be able to do that with Shane. We've got Gavin Williams.
What is Shane worth?
And that's all. That's why I think he comes back and pitches. It's an audition. He'll come back in September and pitch,
because if he comes back, even when he comes back, and that's the other thing is they might not be able to really trade him. Nah. Like his values is as low as it's ever been.
When
not just money wise, but also trade wise.
He's a free agent at the end of next season.
Of next season. Yeah.
So we could be talking about this come trade deadline next year.
Okay. I hope not.
Yeah, we might be. I mean, that's kind of the.
I really hope not. I hope that they're better. And that was one of the reasons why I said the Civale trade, I hated it was because I wish that they were better, that they didn't have to make that trade. I wish that they were better, that they were buyers and not sellers. I wish that, it stinks. It stinks talking about trading away a bunch of guys and now going into youngster mode. As exciting as some of these guys can be, it just stinks.
Last thing I'll say, and then we'll move on to our other news of the evening. I'm wondering who the starter will be that gets called up from AAA, because we're going to need one. Will it be Peyton Battenfield? Will it be your wonderful friend Zach Plesac? Will it be Hunter Gaddis again? Will it
They've
be
all
Joey?
Been terrible.
Or would it be Joey Cantillo? We haven't seen him at all.
Right. Battenfield is hurt, right? He's on the
he's
list?
Back now. No, he's back and he's at AAA. Yep.
But Gaddis and Plesac have been terrible in AAA. They can't. I mean, if they're coming up, it's just to go out there, lose the game, and eat up 5 innings for us.
Maybe.
But I don't know.
I think it's going to come down to you want my opinion, it's either Battenfield or Cantillo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's probably wrong.
I think weren't we told it was Cantillo?
Well, we'll call him Cantillo then. If he comes up, he would be the one I think they're going to want to get a look at. And then if he comes up for a start or two and then goes back down when Cal's ready, then there you go. Because Logan Allen, Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams are all going to hit their innings mark here real quick. And then what?
Yeah. Right.
It's going to be a free-for-all, a revolving door of pitchers coming up, going back down, because we're going to need to field a team to finish the season.
Right. So I guess this is kind of along the lines of like the whole Rosario thing, and maybe you traded Rosario so that Tito could, the whole Moneyball thing. You can't play Rosario in shortstop today. Well, why not? Because I traded him.
He's not with the team anymore.
Miles Straw has consistently been at the plate in the 9th inning with the game on the line.
I saw a tweet real quick. He has had the same amount of at-bats with the bases loaded, 9, that Jose Ramirez has had.
Mm-hmm. And so
Why
last night,
why is Miles Straw batting with the bases loaded 9 times?
yeah. So last night, Zach Meisel of The Athletic in the post game asks Tito, did you think about pinch hitting for Miles Straw? And if you've seen the video, Tito looked annoyed and said, why would I do that? Who would you pinch hit for him? Zach then replied, Fry, Oscar, or Freeman. And Tito said, we're not trying to hit a home run there. We need to get on base. And then Meisel replies, well, Freeman's been pretty good. And Tito then rebuttals, well, you can ask the question all you want. I don't think that was the right move there. So, two things. A, why is Tito getting so defensive about that? It's a simple question. And the reporters are pretty easy on Tito. Let's just say. So, and this is a question that a lot of fans have been telling Zach or saying to Zach, why doesn't anybody ask this ever? And he finally did. Well, I guess we got our answers because Tito's going to take it personally and snap at him.
Well,
But also, Tito's response doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't. And so
Freeman and Fry have much better on base percentages than Miles Straw does.
Right. So here's what I think. Here's my 2 cents. Number one, I think Tito is pissed off. He's frustrated that he gets asked the same questions all the time, and he doesn't have an answer for it. I'm sure he gets asked about the lineup all the time. Maybe, just maybe, he had a bad day. Maybe.
Well, sure. Civale just got traded, and then they lost in the bullpen.
Exactly. So he may have been a little chippy. However, his response to Zach made 0 sense. You needed a hit, so why wouldn't you pinch hit Freeman or Fry or SpongeBob? Who knows? You're down 5 runs. I understand that. But you're trying to chip away and every little bit helps. Didn't Straw strike out?
And you can't even say it was a defensive thing because 2 of those guys play outfield and you could have moved Brennan to center.
Right.
Like, you're down 5 runs.
And let's be honest,
I like Miles. He's being misused. And I'll argue Rosario was misused. Yeah. And actually the Dodgers are probably going to use him perfectly. And then we're going to be mad and be like, well, why did we trade Rosario? Look how well he's doing with the Dodgers and Right. But the thing is that, like, with Straw, it's like they finally started to use him in the right manner where he was a defensive replacement in the 6th inning or later. Same thing with Rosario. They were finally putting Arias as a defensive replacement for him in the later innings.
By the way, you are Nostradamus. You predicted the lineup correctly. Will Brennan comes off the bench and he will play right field.
And
Oscar Gonzalez now moves up to the 4 hole and he's DHing. So there you go. Kudos. Well done. So you have 1 guy left on your bench tonight, and that's Bo Naylor. That's it. And Naylor's hurt, so he can't play.
Well, Josh Naylor's hurt. Yeah.
Well, Josh Naylor is hurt, and he can't play. So,
well, like I said, Tito doesn't use the bench anyway, so what's the difference?
There's a lefty on the mound tonight. That's why Bo Naylor's not playing. I know everybody is losing their minds. This season has just been a multitude of questions and frustration and anger. But now we at least know that the Guardians aren't worried about this year. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
You might limp into the playoffs,
and you're going to get shellacked. You're going to get shellacked. Who would you play? If the playoffs started today, they'd play against Houston at home.
Yeah, who just acquired Verlander? So, one more thing. Yeah. The other thing that, like, just kind of chaps me about Civale was because we had just gotten shut out by the starters
for the 11th time. Yeah. We've been shut out 11 times now this year.
But 2 White Sox starters shut us out in Tukey and in Clevenger. And now I know they scored a run after Clevenger left the game, but the two starters who used to be on our team shut us out. And I'm just looking forward to the day, because I know it's going to happen, because I think we play the Rays 6 more times this season.
I think so. We're going to end up facing
out. He's going to skunk us.
Either that or we're going to shell him. It's going to be one.
It's one or the other. It's not going to be like a 2. He'll give up 2 runs. We're either going to crush him for 8, or he's going to shut us out.
Either we implode him and he leaves the game early, or he goes 9 innings, throws a complete game, allows 1 hit, no runs, and we look awful. I mean, it's one or the other. But the trade deadline, Brian, has come and gone. I have not seen any more big news in way of trades that came in late. Wow, what a day. Rosario gone, Civale gone, Josh Bell gone. New Guardians,
on to 2024.
Guys. On to 2024. Welcome to Kyle Manzardo, Khalil Watson, Gene Zagura. It was nice to have you for a second. We wish you the best in your future endeavors. I mean, it's youngsters time. We're ride or die.
We're not gonna be talking about Khalil Watson probably ever again.
Maybe, who knows?
If we do, it's gonna be in 2027.
Maybe. I'll be really old by then. So hey, who knows? Maybe we'll have a World Series or 2 by the time that happens, but maybe. Probably not. I don't know.
I mean, at our rate though, we're on a better pace than the Mets.
Hey, you know what? Hashtag 1948 and counting. That's where we're at.
All right, Mike, where can they find you?
I am on Twitter and Facebook at Mike Vorhies. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Music. You can even watch our smiling faces on YouTube. You just search the MLB Guardcast and you'll find us. And then you can see what we look like, all the mannerisms, the hand gestures, the fact that I can't sit still. I have to have multiple drinks during an episode. Brian, where can they find you?
At WXSHAW Weathershaw on Twitter. I am on, what's it called? Threads?
Is that yeah, you're on that?
Bryan Shaw on Threads. I haven't posted much there. It's not timeline based yet. On Facebook, everywhere else is just Bryan Shaw. BRYANSHAW. Like Mike said, we are in all the places. Come listen to us. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we're talking about how excited we are for the future. And maybe we found our shortstop of the future. And maybe we finally solidified right field with Oscar Gonzalez or George Valera or somebody like that. Like this was the youngest team this year.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to be the youngest team next year again. So there is some stuff to look forward to, but definitely going to be watching. I mean, if they lose the game now, whatever. Like I'm now watching more for the players.
We could get into the playoffs with a below 500 record, folks. We could.
I saw somebody. Really, I don't even know if it's possible. Like I don't know if like there's tiebreakers, but if both teams finish 81 and 81, is there a playoff?
I think you would just say the AL Central gets 0 teams, and we're gonna pick a team that's above 500.
But is the first tiebreaker? I hope the first tiebreaker is not head to head.
I think it is.
I hope it doesn't go into tiebreakers. Like make us play that one game.
Don't we own the Twins this year? I think we've beaten them more than we've lost to them.
There's probably more to go though. Do we end the season with the Twins?
Oh my goodness. If we do, that might be the most epic. That might be the most epic thing. I mean, does it surprise me? No. Doesn't surprise me.
Let's see.
We finished the season at Detroit.
At Detroit.
Yeah. Our last series with Minnesota is at home. Labor Day week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, that's still September. I guess that's not close. So the beginning of September.
Yep, Labor Day week. Labor Day week.
October 1st at Detroit.
Yeah. That could be the game that decides the AL Central, folks. Buckle up. It could be exciting. Who knows? But we know where this team is now. They've made moves. It's going to be the young guns now. We're going to see what
and that's fair. I'm glad they've picked a lane.
Finally.
I'm glad they picked a lane.
We need pitchers. So anybody that wants to audition, send your tape to the Cleveland Guardians. They're going to need some arms. If you could throw between 4 and 6 innings, they'll love you for it. We're going to need some help. I mean, I don't know how we're going to pull this off. A lot of, especially with our 40 man as tight as it is. What are we going to do?
They'll cut like Nelson, or was it Nelson? The couple of relievers that pitched yesterday.
Oh, Michael Kelly
and the
Daniel Norris.
Norris, not Nelson. Thank you. Norris.
Yeah,
those guys
Nelson,
will get moved on from, or you know, and I'm sure they'll pass through waivers.
They tried that with Tukey and it failed miserably.
I mean, Hunter Gaddis might get DFA'd and he'll probably pass through waivers. I mean, he's got like a 6 ERA in AAA.
Zach Plesac, we tried it already. He's
already off.
40, man.
He's already off the 40.
We don't have any. I don't know. I know Joey is the only other starting pitcher, I think, on our 40 man.
Well,
that we could call.
If we're gonna see the kiddos, let's see the kiddos.
Peyton Battenfield's on our 40. So we can always go back out and sign Connor Pilkington, your friend. He's available.
Pinkerton's still there.
He's available. He's not playing with anybody right now. So maybe we get him. But guys, it has been an absolute amazing, outstanding trade deadline day. The Guardians made some moves. Now we sit back. Relax, and enjoy the team that is in front of us. Get ready to learn to pronounce some names you haven't heard, and sit back and relax. Get some popcorn, your favorite beverage, and go Guards. I mean, that's about all you got. See you soon.